Catherine Campbell with Be Iconic Beauty and Be Iconic Style. We're back on Blushes, Brushes, and Beauty, and today we're going to be showing you how to make your makeup last as long as possible. Today we have our lovely model, Becca. So we're just going to kind of show you how she does her normal routine and just add a couple steps that's going to make it last extra long. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take primer. This one is Prime Time by Bare Minerals. It's just going to help fill the pores a little bit, give you a matte complexion. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. Typically you can apply this with a brush or even a foundation sponge. Becca's gonna let me use my fingers, they're clean. So you wanna focus most of your primer on the T-zone area where you tend to get oily or where your pores might show a little bit more. It's gonna give you a more matte look and really make your foundation last in those areas, keep those oils at bay. And then with whatever's left over, I'm just gonna kind of smooth it around the rest of her face. All right, now that she's all primed, we're gonna get started with foundation. Becca's favorite is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation. It's super long wearing, it's great for photography, there's no flashbacks, and it's super inexpensive. It's about $7 at any drugstore. She's in the shade Soft Beige, if you're wondering. Now that we've got the foundation dotted all over, we're gonna go in with her foundation brush and just kind of blend it all out. All right, now that her complexion is a little evened out, we're gonna go in with some concealer to highlight her face and just add the extra coverage where it's needed. So typically when you're highlighting your face, you're gonna wanna do kind of like the center. So under the eyes, a little bit on the forehead, down the bridge of the nose, and on the chin. Oh, and this is the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Light. This concealer is so amazing, super full coverage, super long wearing. You can dance the night away or get stuck in the hot sun and it'll be there at the end of the day. So now we're gonna go in with a damp beauty sponge. This is a Real Techniques sponge. You can get this for $4. It's exactly like a beauty blender, except more than half the price. I prefer using a beauty sponge for concealer because I feel like it's a little more precise and a little more gentle. You see that with the foundation brush, you kind of have to tug a little more in some areas where this you can just lightly pounce, especially under the eyes where the skin is a lot more delicate. Now before anything has a chance to crease, under her eyes we're going to use a translucent setting powder. This one I found is super amazing. It's $32. It is the Too Faced Ethereal Setting Powder. But I honestly have had this for about 6 months and I still have so much left in the container and it makes my foundation last forever and my concealer doesn't crease, it's just immaculate. So we're going to take a little bit, ask you to hold that. And it even has a little thing so it doesn't get super dirty and spill all over the place. We're gonna put a little on the cap. And we're gonna take our beauty sponge and really quickly just grab some on there. And we're gonna set under the eyes. We're also gonna go ahead and set any of the places that we highlighted the exact same way. Setting with a sponge like this really allows you to press the powder in rather than just kind of lay it on top. So it kind of stops that liquid concealer or foundation from being kind of a liquid anymore. But for the rest of her face, we're gonna go ahead and take a fluffy powder brush and just lightly go over everything else. Kind of using more of a dabbing motion rather than a dragging, because otherwise it could disrupt the foundation we already put down. So next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use a cream blush. And now normally I would 100% advise against using a cream on top of a powder. But this product that we're actually gonna talk about a little later is super amazing over powder products. I find that it blends very well. I have never had a trouble blending it over a powder, and it gives a really subtle color that is super buildable as well. So I'm just gonna kind of take some with my beauty sponge and just lightly start to dab. Make sure when you're blending, especially on top of a powder, you're gonna wanna just kind of dab instead of drag, because otherwise, like I said before, you'll really just take away the product that you already have down, and then it kind of destroys everything you just did. Now that we have that done, just like we did with our concealer and foundation, we're gonna set it with a powder. So we are going to use the California blush by Benefit and just a small little blush brush. It smells so good. All right, and next we're gonna use a powder bronzer. This one's from L'Oreal. Bronzer is a very personal thing though. You don't wanna go with a universal shade because chances are if you're lighter like me, you might not like be the same shade as somebody who's darker like Becca. But you're just gonna kind of want to go with whatever works for you. Maybe try some out in a store if you're able to. First, I'm gonna kind of contour just a little bit using a smaller brush. You're gonna want to go in the area, so if Becca like sucks in her cheeks, you'd want to go in this area to really define that shadow. It gives you that much more chiseled appearance, kind of brings out your cheekbones a little bit. When I contour myself personally and other people, I tend to like to start kind of at the ear, see where that line is from your ear to your cheek when you suck in your cheekbones, and then start there and brush up. It gives it a much more natural effect, and it kind of stops it from looking muddy or just kind of blended in with the rest of your face products. And then to just give a little more color on the rest of our face, we're gonna go in with a much bigger brush and very lightly dabbing in, tapping off the excess and just kind of going around the forehead. Just to give her that very sun-kissed, freshly walked off the beach kind of look. I always like to go down the neck a little bit with my bronzer. It kind of just makes everything look a little more cohesive, puts the color everywhere in a good way. All right. Now, this is my favorite part, and it's definitely much more of a trend thing, using a very like sparkly highlighter. This one from Jeffree Star Cosmetics is absolutely beautiful. It's in the shade Siberian Gold. His products are very reasonably priced and with a great pan size. So we're just gonna highlight the high points of her face, but not like we did with the concealer. We're gonna do this a little more to like show when she turns just right, like the sun will hit it and it'll just look beautiful. So I'm gonna use a little tapered brush and we're just gonna lightly dab in, tap off, and then we're gonna go on like the highest points of her cheekbone. This shade is absolutely stunning on Becca. It's a very gold tone and she has beautiful darker skin complexion. Not dark, but medium complexion, and this shade is just stunning. I like to go a little bit on the nose. I'm actually gonna use my finger for this. Kind of just makes the bridge stand up a little bit more. And then my absolute favorite place to highlight is the Cupid's bow. I feel like it just changes the shape of your lips in the most positive way, just brings them out. It's so beautiful. I'm gonna have her just kind of like purse her lips a little bit. And it just adds the most beautiful touch. So the last thing we're gonna do to really lock everything into place is we are going to take a setting spray. This is a Milani one, and it's about 12 bucks at the drugstore. I really like this one. It says it's a 16-hour wear, and I really truly believe that it gives you that extra long wear time. So I'm just gonna have Becca close her eyes. We're gonna spray all over her face, and then I'm just gonna kind of have her fan it so it kind of dries in a little bit. You want to hold it a little bit away from your face if you're doing it on yourself. You don't want it to be so close that the droplets kind of mess with your makeup that we have on. So after that's done drying, that's going to be your last step. And what'll really help is setting everything you do like a cream product with a powder. That's going to really ensure you have a long wear time. And using mostly powder products will kind of help. Like, they fade throughout the day, but a lot better than it would be if you just use a cream product. And using that setting spray, even buying an inexpensive one, really, really helps. It really like locks everything into place, really sets it down. And even throughout the day, refreshing your makeup with a setting spray will just kind of liven it back up if you're feeling like it's looking a little dull or something. But yeah, that's all for today, guys. I really hope this video was helpful for y'all, and give a round of applause to Becca. And thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing y'all again.